Okay, a quick example of the quadratic formula, using the quadratic formula, and filling out this chart here. Show you how to do all that. Quadratic formula is, of course, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And I'm going to highlight this part here in red. So that's b squared minus 4ac. That red part is called the discriminant. Okay? So the way I would go about filling this chart out is to just plug it in, solve it, and then go back and fill the chart all in. Remember, the quadratic formula has to be set equal to 0. So this 8 needs to be brought over to this side, making it 3x squared plus 4x minus 8 equals 0, like that. So that when you find your a, b, and c, remember the standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. That's the standard form of a quadratic formula there, of a quadratic equation. Or second degree, it means the highest thing's a 2. But this a would be 3, b would be positive 4, and c would be negative 8. And what we're going to do is plug all of that into this big old thing here and see what happens. So let's go ahead and do that. So negative b would be negative 4 plus or minus. So I'm going to show you how to handle simplifying this. B squared would be, in parentheses, 4 squared minus 4ac. So it's 4 times 3 times negative 8. And I'm going quickly because I know you have done this before. Over 2a. 2a would be 2 times 3. And you got my permission to just write 6 there if you wanted to do that and skip that part. On top, I'm going to do this math right on this line right here. That's going to be 16. And I got minus 4 times 3 times negative 8. So that's going to turn into a plus right there. 12 times 8 is, what is that, 96? 12 times 8, that's 96. And that together is going to be 112. So I'm going to now rewrite this. Negative 4 plus or minus radical 112 all over 6. Okay, now I can start filling this chart in. Right now, I know what the discriminant is. The discriminant is 112. Not what it is after it's simplified or anything like that. The discriminant is just b squared minus 4ac. And that is that number right there. That's the discriminant, 112. If it's positive, it means I have 2 real solutions. Okay, so 2/3 of this chart is now done. Only thing I have to do now is simplify 112. 112 breaks down into 2 times 56. And then I'll just keep breaking this down. That's going to be 8 times 7. So it's 2 times 8 times 7. So we got this 2, and then an 8 will break down into 3 2s. So I got a total of 4 2s here, and a 7. So a pair of 2s and another pair of 2s makes 2 real 2s out in front of this radical symbol. So the square root of 112 is going to become 4 radical 7. 4 radical 7, because that's 2 times 2. Each one of these circled pairs makes a real 2. That is 2 times 2. And if you have more than one, you multiply it and stick it right there. Okay? So this is going to be negative 4 plus or minus 4 radical 7 all over 6. Now, you could almost stop there and leave it like that. But since we have this number, and this number all having a common factor, we might as well reduce it. So that, let's see here. This is going to reduce here, here, and here by the number 2. And if I divide 2 into each of these, that's going to be negative 2 plus or minus 2 radical 7 all over 3. And that would be your final answer that you could stick in this blank right here. Okay, you don't have to do anything further than that. Okay, now know I'm moving along here, but I want to show you one other little example of something that might happen. Let's say you were doing a problem and you got all the way through it, and it came out to be maybe 7 plus or minus the square root of negative 23 over 6. Okay, let's say you had that. If you did, the discriminant on this, when you were starting to fill this chart in, would be negative 23. If the discriminant is negative, you have no real solution. So you would say no real, and that I'm talking real number, solutions. So if it's negative, you have no real solutions. But as far as solving it, this wouldn't quite be finished yet, because you should call this 7 plus or minus I radical 23 all over 6. That would be your final answer. Final answer. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it. Actually, I would kind of like to do one more thing since I have this rolling here. And let me just make another box, move that over, and I'll do one more example like that. Let's say we had one that came out to be 0. Let's say it was 8 plus or minus radical 0 over 2. Okay, this time the discriminant would be 0. The number of solutions would be 1 real solution. And the actual solution would be like this. It would be 8 plus or minus, the square root of 0 is 0 over 2. So if these here that I'm circling right there are ever numbers like 16, 49, 81, and they simplify, you have to do this split up thing here, where it would be 8 plus 0 over 2 and 8 minus 0 over 2. And this is kind of redundant here, because 8 plus 0 and 8 minus 0 are the same thing. These are going to be 8 over 2, which would be 4. Now you don't have to write it twice. The solution here would be 4. If this was, say, 16, and you did the square root of 16 and got 4, then you would have 2 different answers there. And you would have to split this up using this technique right here. That is pretty much it. Watch this again if you need help further. See ya.